Hi, this is Josh Bycer from GameWisdom.com. I hope you enjoyed this Game Industry Insight, a look behind the scenes at game development. And be sure to subscribe and you can pitch future video topics. Alright everybody, for today's Industry Insight, we are in peak Steam Summer Sale 2017. It's the annual reminder of just how much game sales have really become a major facet, not just of marketing to people, but in terms of the buying habits of the consumer as well. And for today's little video, I want to talk about the importance of sales and how they can be considered a double-edged sword for game development and game marketing. Now, as I just said, game sales in terms of the grand scheme of the game industry really came to their own about, I think it was like 2008, 2009 in terms of the Steam Summer Sale. I should have looked that up beforehand, but I'm working on 5 hours of sleep right now, so we're going to try to keep this on the shorter end. But nevertheless, when Valve introduced the Steam Summer Sale, it just kind of blew up for everyone in the game industry. Previously, when it came to buying video games, you basically bought them at full price, or you wait a year, year and a half, and maybe get it for $10 off. With the Steam Summer Sale offering 50% and up sales, this presented Steam and consumers a major opportunity for getting, well, on Steam's end, a lot of extra money, and for consumers, a chance to finally buy all their games that they've been wanting. As we talked about before, the game industry, or video games in particular, can be a very expensive hobby no matter where you look. Again, if I had to buy every game that I wanted to play, I probably would have gone bankrupt 10 times over at this point. But the use of sales has become a major driving factor in marketing your game and the strategies of putting it out. One thing that has become a very big no-no, of course, is if there is a summer sale or any major sale coming up, you don't want to release your brand new game at full price. And in terms of pricing your games, that, my friends, is a topic for a day when I've had more sleep than this. But understanding the psychology of sales is a very important part, especially if you are a first-time game developer and maybe about to release your first game. Now, when it comes to game sales or buying games in general, you're always going to have a different audience or a different crowd of people looking at your game. The first group are always the hardcore. These are the people who will buy a game from a popular genre or popular developer day one, no questions asked. Your Madden and Call of Duty fans, Star Wars Battlefront, chances are myself when the Diablo 3 Necromancer expansion is released in a few days, and so on. For this group, it's basically about the game and supporting the developer. Doesn't matter if the game is $10 or $50. And this kind of group is also made up of gamers or consumers who buy games from very niche genres. Stuff like 4X games, the war game genre in particular is a really good example of this. Wargaming has kept itself very much on the high end of things for a very long time. I think it was one of the last genres to really embrace the act of game sales. Now, the second group of consumers are those who are just basically looking for a deal. They are more price conscious compared to other people, but they still want to pay somewhere around what it's worth, and they're just really looking for, $10 off, $15 off, stuff like that. And this is probably the majority of consumers out there. Anyone who clips coupons, goes to stores for special sales, you're still paying a good price for this stuff, but, that little bit of a discount can go a long way towards motivating someone. Really good example of this would be, of course, Amazon, who has for years now have always put new game pricing or pre-order on new games at like 5 to 10% off. The same thing goes for Green Man Gaming, and even having like special coupons or discounts if you're a member for, insert your favorite shopping supermarket here. Now, the third group, and this is where sales become very important, is attracting new people. There's an age-old adage that something is only worth as much as what someone is willing to spend on it. And going back to what we were just saying, if you are a Star Wars fan, when Star Wars Battlefront 2 comes out, chances are you're going to buy that on day one, just like Madden and Call of Duty. But if someone doesn't have that brand or game or genre loyalty, it becomes a greater risk to experiment with new games. And this is one of the biggest factors of why sales have been I think, an overall boon to the game industry. Because it allows people to try out games and things that they wouldn't have otherwise looked at to see if they like it. Now, on our recent episode of Game Wisdom Live, at least according or to the time of this recording here, we talked about the use of, I guess, I'm trying to remember the exact thing we were getting at. Oh, yes. Let's Plays versus demos. And that, my friends, is easily another topic right there. But with the decline of demos and the ability for someone to actually get hands-on with a title, it becomes about trying to get as much qualitative information about a game that you can. And being able to, or the less money that you can put into a game, the less likely you're going to refund it. For those of you watching this right now, have you bought any games like $2, $3 or less that you didn't like but still decided to keep either as a show of support for the developer or the fact you just didn't care about the refund? But on the other hand, if you bought a $50, $60 game that you didn't like or was unfinished or buggy or whatever, you can bet that a lot of people are going to refund that. And again, lowering the price barrier to your game is a great way to get new people in. And this is why a lot of games typically will go on sale after about a month or two. In earlier earlier vlogs, we've talked about the sales window. It's about 30 to 45 days from launch that you have for your game to be in the popular eye. After that, it's really going to be about sales and word of mouth to convince people to look at your game. And when it comes to attracting new people, the price barrier is one of the biggest things. Because why would someone spend $40, $50 on a game or a genre that they have never played before, rather than spend that money on something that they know they like? And this is the same kind of promotional strategy, my mouth just dried out there, promotional strategy that new restaurants and stores use. They put out, 25, 30% off for a store opening because they want to get you in the door. They want you to try something out new, and if you enjoy it, then you're going to come back and spend full price or more money on it. And if we're talking about a game that is past a month and a half or even more in terms of the market, this is a sale that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. And it comes down to, would you rather get $0 from someone, or would you rather get at least 10 or 15? And for myself, I use game sales as a way to try out games that, again, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy, or if I played it before and maybe it annoyed me a little bit, but I still want to give it a benefit of the doubt, but I don't want to give it full price. And I'll give you the perfect example of this. The fighting game genre. I don't care how acclaimed titles like Skullgirls, Street Fighter, Tekken, and Justice 2 are, I'm not spending full price on those games because I'm not a fighting game person. So tying up $30+ into a game or genre that I'm not particularly fond of to see if I even like it is not a wise decision for me. This is why I will wait for these games to go on sale. I think I bought Street Fighter V when it was like $15 or $20, which I think incidentally was at the last big Steam sale. But this is the importance of sales because, again, a game like Street Fighter V, Capcom was not going to see my money anywhere near $40 or $50, arguably not even near $30 either. But by getting it cheap enough for myself, they were able to at least see some money. And this is what you have to think about when it comes to putting your game on sale. Like we've said, there is a point where you typically don't want your game to be on a discount. Now, some developers, as a potential strategy, will release their game for maybe 10 to 50% off for the first week. But you're not going to see a developer put a game out and then 2 weeks later have a 50% off sale. Now, there are some major exceptions to that rule. If it's a re-release of a game, part of a major franchise, or some kind of crazy special promotion. Like, um, if you own this game that we're partnering with, we'll take 30% off your title or off your purchase. And I've had games like that because I own one game in a series or one game in a bundle or part of this company, they'll give me a greater discount. But that's a little bit more of advanced sales strategies and more than what I want to talk about for today. Now, we've spent about 10 minutes talking about the greatness of sales, but it's time to talk about the downside. And this could probably fill another vlog easily. Because of game sales, it has conditioned consumers to wait for games to go down. And this makes it a lot harder for developers to earn a profit. Again, it's easier to make up a loss if you're selling your game at $30, $40 a pop as opposed to $5 to $10. And for a lot of gamers, and you can see this on just about every Steam forum, there will always be people who will say, I'm not going to buy your game until it's at least $5. And unfortunately, those are people that you will most likely never reach until you ever decide to sell your game at that price. But again, the pricing of your game and how much you want to discount it, it's really on a case-by-case decision here. And for those of you watching this in the indie sector or who have worked on games before, how did you decide how much you want to put your game on sale? Again, the days of, just going, I'm going to put my game for 95% off and earn a lot of money are kind of behind us. Especially with more and more developers realizing the downsides of doing bundling promotions. So for those of you watching this, what were some of the things that you were thinking about in terms of putting your game on sale? When did you do it? How much? And also how long? Because again, all these little things can come back to either help or harm your game in the market. Like I said at the beginning, for the next week or so while the Steam Summer Sale is going on, you don't want to be releasing a brand new game at $60. And again, knowing the timing for releasing your game, that is another topic in of itself. Now, getting back to the downsides of sales, this has led to what we've all been talking about, the race to the bottom, and how it's becoming faster and faster for games to depreciate, especially those either in the AAA space or parts of popular genres. I mentioned this example before, but I was still shocked how fast Doom 2016 depreciated over the course of the year. It launched at $60 and was already down to $30 before the end of 2016. And that is very scary. And I've talked to a few developers about this too. Because again, if you want developers to take a chance and do something risky, then they have to get paid for it. And telling everyone just to release your game at $3, $4 a copy is not going to help out the industry as a whole. It's going to mean that developers will spend less time on games, leading to less quality and less variety. Now, again though, pricing in terms of how much you want to initially price your game at, that is another big topic, and we're about 13 minutes in here, and I'm starting to doze off as I'm talking, so we're going to wrap it up here. But, again, when it comes to putting your game on sale, this is a decision that you cannot take lightly. Because anytime you lower your game's retail price, people are going to take notice. And again, you have to understand when to do it. With the pricing window or with the sales window of 30 to 45 days, you typically don't want to have a sale anywhere in that time, even if there is a big sale going on or other promotions, because then it will be looked at as kind of a bait and switch. I bought your game for $50 and 2 weeks later you're selling it for $30? What the hell is wrong with you? And there is a greater topic to be had about games that are keeping their price or trying to preserve their price for longer periods of time. Whether those are games that launch at what's considered the high end of the scale, which is like $30, $40, or for games that have basically put aside going on major sales or adjusting the price lower over time. I know there's been a recent discussion about Paradox Software or Paradox Interactive that I want to get to after a good night's sleep. But we're going to wrap it up here for tonight. So hopefully we'll all still have money at the end of this at the end of this big sale. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's vlog, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and check back daily for more discussions on game design here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and come back around 10 Eastern for regular streaming. For a collection of my writings as well as weekly podcasts on game development, be sure to check out game-wisdom.com. Follow me on Twitter at GWBycer for updates throughout the day. And to help support everything that I do, you can find me on Patreon under GWBycer or Game Wisdom. Your donations can help to keep things running, and when we hit some goals, it will mean more content for everyone to enjoy. So, thanks again for watching, and be sure to come back for daily discussions on game design on the Game Wisdom channel.